Welcome to Superdome, Kansas and Tennessee, for a first-round playoff game. Gibbons boots it. The kick from Gibbons is returned 23 yards by Cafego, all on the tackle. Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Wood takes the handoff. Wood on the carry, no gain, Renko with the tackle. Single wing formation. Cafego calls out the signals. Hand off to Cafego. He throws to Wallen. Complete. Cafego to Wallen, gain of 11, Anderson on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. The hand off to Wallen. Wallen on the carry, no gain, Wenstrand with the tackle. Second and 10 from the 49. Single wing formation. Cafego calls out the signals. Hand off to Cafego. He throws to Kaufman. He dropped it. Cafego throws incomplete to Kaufman, Divins with the coverage. Third and 10 at the 49. Single wing formation. Cafego fades back to pass. Cafego will run. Cafego on the carry, gain of 1, Wenstrand on the tackle. Fox deep in punt formation. Repigal standing inside his own 10. A 27-yard punt by Fox, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Repigal with the handoff. Repigal the ball carrier, gain of 7, Wyatt on the tackle. Second and 3. Single wing formation. Repigal hands to Amarine. Amarine on the carry, gain of 4, Sefers on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. The hand off to Brunson. Brunson on the carry, gain of 9, Woodruff on the tackle. Second and 1. Single wing formation. Amarine with the hand off. Amarine running room. Amarine with the carry, gain of 41, Cafego with the tackle, first down. First and 10 at the 18. Single wing formation. Miller calling the signals. Give to Amarine. Amarine on the sweep, no gain, Sefers on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Miller fades back to pass. Medium out to Renko. Leaping catch. Miller passes to Renko, touchdown Kansas. Gibbons will try the point after. Gibbons missed the extra point, Kansas 6, Tennessee 0. Here's the kick from Gibbons. The kick from Gibbons is returned 21 yards by Cafego, Hall with the tackle. First and 10 from the 34. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Cafego back to pass. Long in. Incomplete. Cafago throws incomplete to Wyatt, Repigal on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 34. Single wing formation. Cafago calls the signals. Wood hands to Wood. 2-yard gain by Wood, Shirk on the tackle. Third and 8 from the 36. Single wing formation. Give to Cafago. He throws to Wyatt. He's got it. Cafago to Wyatt, gain of 12, Repigal on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago at the line. Bootleg. Cafago on the bootleg, no gain, Wenstrand on the tackle. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Cafago on the bootleg, no gain, Selanik on the tackle. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Kaufman with the handoff. 3-yard gain by Kaufman, Bozalier back on the tackle. Fox back in punt formation. Masoner waiting inside his own 10. "13-yard punt by Fox, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Miller in the shotgun. The hand off to Amarine. Amarine on the carry, gain of 1, flag on the field.
Holding, offense. Number 77, 10-yard penalty.
First and 20 from the 26. Single wing formation. Miller from the shotgun. Miller at the line. Fades back to pass. Medium slant. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Shirk, Fox on the coverage. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Repigal drops back to pass. Repigal will run. Repigal on the carry, gain of 1, Wyatt on the tackle. Third and 19 at the 27. Single wing formation. Miller calling signals. Sets to throw. He throws underneath to complete. Miller completes the pass to Amarine, gain of 7, Sneed with the tackle. Repigal back in punt formation. "47-yard punt by Repigal, return of 17 by Cafago. Flag on the play.
False start, offense. Number 36, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
First and 15 from the 31. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Bootleg. Cafago on the carry, gain of 6, Massair on the tackle. Single wing formation. Wallen takes the handoff. Wallen with a gain of 1 on the play, Selanik on the tackle. Third and 8 at the 38. Single wing formation. Cafago calling signals. Fades back to pass. Medium cross to Wyatt, complete. Cafago completes the pass to Wyatt, gain of 29, Repigal on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago takes a deep drop. Cafago tucks it under. Cafago gets to the second level. 14-yard run by Cafago, Warren on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago barks out the signals. Wallen takes the handoff. Has an opening. Wallen on the carry, touchdown Tennessee. Wyatt will try the point after. The conversion failed, Kansas 6, Tennessee 6. Here's the kick from Barnes. The kick from Barnes is returned 30 yards by Amarine, Duncan on the tackle. Single wing formation. Repigal behind center. Repigal in the shotgun. Repigal running. Repigal has room to run. Repigal gains 12 on the sweep, Malinsky on the tackle, first down. Tie score. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Bootleg. Miller on the carry, no gain, Woodruff on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 45. Single wing formation. Repigal pitches right to Brunson. 9-yard run by Brunson, penalty on the play.
Personal foul, defense. Number 54, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. Transfers control to Miller. He throws to Amarine, complete. Miller to Amarine, gain of 11, Snead on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Repigal. He dropped it. Miller passes to Repigal, incomplete. Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Repigal. Miller to Repigal, incomplete, Malinsky with the coverage. Third and goal from the 10. Single wing formation. Miller sets up in the pocket. Miller throws to Amarine, he dropped it. Miller throws incomplete to Amarine, Snead on the coverage. 27-yard try for Gibbons. Miller to hold. This will give them the lead. The snap from Warren. Gibbons made the 27-yard field goal, Kansas 9, Tennessee 6. Gibbons to kick off. The kick from Gibbons is returned 20 yards by Cafago, Coll on the tackle.
Illegal block. Receiving team, 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Shovels it to Wallen. Wallen on the carry, no gain, Masser on the tackle. Single wing formation. Wood gives to Wallen. Wallen gains 1 on the sweep, Renko on the tackle. Third and 9 from the 16. Single wing formation. Cafago barks out the signals. Back to pass. Cafago throws to Kaufman, complete. Cafago passes to Kaufman, gain of 23, Divins with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago at the line. Wood gives to Duncan. Duncan on the sweep, gain of 9, Anderson on the tackle. Single wing formation. Kaufman with the handoff. Running room. Kaufman with a 20-yard run, Riepagel on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafego calling signals. The give to Kaufman. Kaufman on the carry, loss of 1, Selanik on the stop. Volunteers down 3. Single wing formation. Hand off to Wallen. Wallen on the sweep, gain of 2, Shirk on the stop. Third and 9 at the 31. Single wing formation. Cafego fades back to pass. Cafego will run. Has room to run. Cafego on the carry, gain of 16, Riepagel with the tackle, first down, end of the first quarter, Kansas 9, Tennessee 6, single wing formation. Wood hands to Kaufman. Kaufman on the carry, touchdown Tennessee. Wyatt will try the point after. Wyatt converts the extra point, Tennessee 13, Kansas 9. Here's the kick from Barnes. The kick from Barnes is returned 20 yards by Masoner, Barnes on the tackle. First and 10 from the 33. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Riepagel running. Miller lost 3 on the play, Shires with the tackle. Single wing formation. Miller drops back to pass. Short hitch to Shirk, complete. Miller completes the pass to Shirk, gain of 14, Fox on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Miller barks out the signals. Riepagel on the draw. 4-yard run by Riepagel, Cafego on the tackle. Single wing formation. Give to Miller. Miller dumps it to Brunson, complete. Miller completes the pass to Brunson, gain of 9, Reich on the tackle, first down. Kansas down 4. Single wing formation. Brunson with the handoff. Brunson lost 3 on the play, Luttrell with the tackle. Single wing formation. Miller sets up in the pocket. Miller is running. 5-yard run by Miller, Woodruff with the tackle. Third and 8 from the 41. Single wing formation. Miller calls the signals. Someone jumped. Possible free play for Miller. Fades back to pass. Medium in. Caught by Renko at the 15. Miller passes to Renko, gain of penalty flag.
Encroachment, defense. Number 56, 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Hand off to Amarine. Amarine on the sweep, gain of 10, Cafego with the tackle, first down. First and goal from the 5. Single wing formation. Riepagel behind center. Riepagel on the draw. Riepagel on the draw, loss of 4, Shires on the tackle. Kansas down 4. Single wing formation. Riepagel behind center. false. Repigal on the carry, touchdown Kansas. Gibbons will try the point after. Gibbons makes the extra point, Kansas 16, Tennessee 13. Here's the kick from Gibbons. The kick from Gibbons is returned 20 yards by Coll, Gibbons on the tackle. First and 10. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Coll calling signals. Wood pitches right to Wood. Wood gains 2 on the pitch, Anderson on the tackle. Single wing formation. The give to Coll. Wenstrand pulls him down by the neck. Coll is sacked by Wenstrand, loss of 4. Third and 12 at the 37. Single wing formation. Wood sets up in the pocket. False. Wood on the carry, 4-yard gain, Shirk with the tackle. Fox from punt formation. "33-yard punt by Fox, 18-yard return by Masoner. Single wing formation. Miller in the shotgun. Miller fades back to pass. Miller tucks it under. Miller on the carry, gain of 4, Shires on the tackle. Single wing formation. Repigal gives to Brunson. Brunson gains 9 on the sweep, Wyatt on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Repigal gives to Repigal. Repigal lost 1 on the play, lateral, flag on the field.
Holding, offense. Number 53, 10-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Shirk. Complete. Miller completes the pass to Shirk, 13-yard gain, Fox on the tackle. Single wing formation. Repigal running. Miller on the carry, gain of 2, Coleman on the stop. Third and 5. Single wing formation. The give to Repigal. He throws to Renko, incomplete. Repigal passes to Renko, incomplete, Coll with the coverage. Repigal back in punt formation. "35-yard punt by Repigal, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Coll calls out the signals. Wood hands to Kaufman. Kaufman with the carry, gain of 2, Vozelievac with the tackle. Second and 8 from the 5. Single wing formation. Wood gives to Wood. 3-yard run by Wood, Warren with the tackle. Third and 5 from the 8. Single wing formation. The give to Kaufman. 2-yard gain by Kaufman, Repigal on the tackle. Fox deep in punt formation. From his own end zone. "36-yard punt by Fox, return of 3 by Masoner. Flag on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 77, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
First and 15 at the 48. Single wing formation. Shotgun. High snap. Fumble. Miller with the carry, loss of 17, fumble recovered by Luttrell, Tennessee ball. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Coll calls out the signals. Wood hands to Wood. Wood on the carry, gain of 3, Wenstrand on the tackle. Single wing formation. Coll fades back to pass. Short hitch, caught for a first down by Wyatt. Coll completes the pass to Wyatt, gain of 12, Repeagle on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Coll with the carry, gain of 5, Renko on the tackle. Single wing formation. Wood gives to Wallen. Wallen on the carry, gain of 3, Bozilia back on the tackle. Third and 2 from the 11. Single wing formation. Coll drops back to pass. Short hitch, complete. Coll completes the pass to Wyatt, touchdown Tennessee. Wyatt will try the point after. The kick by Wyatt is good, Tennessee 20, Kansas 16. Here's the kick from Barnes. The kick from Barnes is returned 15 yards by Masoner, Duncan on the tackle. Single wing formation. Miller in the shotgun. Miller calls out the signals. Repeagle with the give to Repeagle. Repeagle with the carry, gain of 3, Shires on the tackle. Kansas breaks the huddle. Second and 7 from the 29. Single wing formation. Repeagle pitches left to Brunson. Brunson on the pitch, 1-yard gain, suffers with the tackle. Third and 6 from the 30. Single wing formation. Repeagle on the draw. Repeagle the ball carrier, gain of 3, Coleman on the tackle. Repeagle deep in punt formation. "45-yard punt by Repeagle, 13-yard return by Coll. Single wing formation. Coll from the shotgun. Coll calling signals. Wood tucks it under. 1-yard run by Coll, Shirt on the tackle. Second and 9 at the 36. Single wing formation. Give to Kaufman. Kaufman with a gain of 1 on the play, Warren on the tackle. Third and 8 at the 37. Single wing formation. Coll fades back to pass. Short out to Wyatt. Incomplete. Coll throws incomplete to Wyatt. Repeagle on the coverage.
False start. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Fox deep in punt formation. "32-yard punt by Fox, return of 14 by Masoner. First and 10 at the 50. 2:12 in the second. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Miller at the line. Repigal takes the handoff. Repigal with a 1-yard run, Wyatt with the tackle. Second and 9 from the 49. Single wing formation. Caldwell takes the handoff. Caldwell the ball carrier, gain of 4, Coleman on the tackle. Third and 5 from the 45. Single wing formation. Miller is back to pass. He throws underneath to Amarine. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Amarine, Snead on the coverage. Repigal back in punt formation. Cafago waiting inside his own 10. "40-yard punt by Repigal, no return. Tennessee by 4. Single wing formation. Shotgun. The handoff to Wood. Wood on the carry, gain of 3, Warren on the tackle. Single wing formation. The handoff to Kaufman. Kaufman with the carry, gain of 1, Shirk on the stop. Third and 6 from the 9. Single wing formation. Cafago drops back to pass. Short slant to Wyatt, complete. Cafago to Wyatt, gain of 12, Repigal on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago at the line. Wood running. Cafago gains 2 on the sweep, Massair with the tackle. End of the first half, Tennessee 20, Kansas 16. Here's the kick from Barnes. The kick from Barnes is returned 21 yards by Masoner, Bailey on the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Amarine with the handoff. Amarine on the carry, gain of 7, Malinsky on the tackle. Kansas trailing by 4. Second and 3 from the 49. Single wing formation. Miller calls the signals. The handoff to Amarine. Amarine lost 1 on the play, Woodruff on the tackle. Third and 4 from the 48. Single wing formation. Repigal with the ball now. Room to run. Repigal on the carry, 15-yard gain, Cafago with the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Repigal takes the handoff. Repigal on the carry, 8-yard gain, Cafago on the tackle. Second and 2 from the 29. Single wing formation. Transfers control to Amarine. Amarine with a gain of 1 on the play, Luttrell on the tackle. Third and 1 from the 28. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Hand off to Amarine. Amarine with the carry, no gain, Woodruff on the tackle. Fourth and 1. Single wing formation. Miller calls out the signals. Amarine takes the handoff. Amarine with the carry, gain of 1, Luttrell on the tackle, first down. First and 10 at the 27. Single wing formation. The handoff to Amarine. Amarine with the carry, no gain, Coleman on the tackle. Single wing formation. Give to Miller. He throws to Shirk. He dropped it. Miller throws incomplete to Shirk, Fox on the coverage. Third and 10 from the 27. Single wing formation. Miller sets up in the pocket. Miller dumps it to Brunson. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Brunson, Reich on the coverage. Fourth and 10 at the 27. Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Amarine. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Amarine, Sneed on the coverage. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Wood gives to Wood. Wood lost 2 on the play, Masser on the tackle. Tennessee by 4. Single wing formation. Cafago is back to pass. False. Cafago with a gain of 1 on the play, Bozelievak on the tackle. Third and 11 from the 26. Single wing formation. Cafago sets up in the pocket. Cafago is running. Cafago on the carry, gain of 1, Selanik on the stop. Fox back in punt formation. A 29-yard punt by Fox, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Miller from the shotgun. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Brunson, complete. Miller passes to Brunson, gain of 11, Reich on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Repigal hands to Brunson. Brunson lost 1 on the play, Shires with the tackle. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Repigal gives to Repigal. Repigal on the carry, gain of 1, Woodruff with the tackle. Kansas breaks the huddle. Third and 10 from the 45. Single wing formation. Transfers control to Miller. He throws to Shirk. Miller is intercepted by Fox, return of 38. Single wing formation. Wood behind center. Shotgun. False. Wood the ball carrier, gain of 3, Renko on the tackle. Second and 7. Single wing formation. Wood pitches right to Duncan. Wide open field. Duncan with a gain of 16 on the play, Warren with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Wood running. Cafago gains 11 on the sweep, Masoner on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Cafago barks out the signals. Wood tucks it under. Cafago on the carry, touchdown Tennessee. Wyatt will try the point after. The kick by Wyatt is good, Tennessee 27, Kansas 16. Barnes to kick off. The kick from Barnes is returned 23 yards by Masoner, Duncan on the tackle.
Holding. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
First and 10 from the 21. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Miller sets up in the pocket. Miller is off and running. Miller on the carry, gain of 4, Kafego with the tackle. Second and 6 from the 25. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Transfers control to Repigal. Repigal on the carry, penalty on the play.
Holding. Offense. Number 64, 10-yard penalty.
Second and 16. Single wing formation. Repigal in the slot. Repigal drops back to pass. Repigal is off and running. Repigal with the carry, gain of 3, Kafego on the tackle. Third and 13 at the 18. Single wing formation. Miller drops back to pass. Long in. He dropped it. Miller throws incomplete to Wenstrand, Fox with the coverage. Repigal deep in punt formation. "41-yard punt by Repigal, return of 15 by Kafego. Single wing formation. Kafego in the shotgun. Wallen with the handoff. Wallen the ball carrier, no gain, Massair on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Give to Kafego. He throws to Wyatt. Incomplete. Kafego throws incomplete to Wyatt, Repigal on the coverage. Third and 10 from the 44. Single wing formation. Kafego fades back to pass. He passes to Kaufman. Incomplete. Kafego to Kaufman, incomplete, Divins on the coverage. Fox back in punt formation. Repigal standing inside his own 10. "28-yard punt by Fox, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Miller in the shotgun. Repigal gives to Repigal. Repigal on the carry, gain of 5, Coleman on the tackle. Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. Miller dumps it to Shirk, complete. Miller passes to Shirk, gain of 7, Fox on the tackle, first down. Timeout, Tennessee. Single wing formation. Repigal behind center. Medium out. Incomplete. Repigal with the pass to Brunson, incomplete, Reich on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 28. Single wing formation. Miller at the line. Fades back to pass. Medium button hook. Shirk with the catch at the 48. Miller completes the pass to Shirk, gain of 25, Fox on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Miller yelling out the signals. The give to Amarine. Amarine with a 1-yard run, Kafego on the tackle. Single wing formation. And off to Miller. He throws to Repigal. Complete. Miller completes the pass to Repigal, 13-yard gain, Malinsky on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Repigal gives to Brunson. Brunson on the carry, gain of 2, Coleman on the tackle. Single wing formation. Repigal behind center. Repigal on the draw. Repigal with the carry, no gain, Reich on the tackle. Kansas trailing by 11. 3rd and 8 at the 31. Single wing formation. Miller sets up in the pocket. Miller is running. 8-yard gain by Miller, Cafago with the tackle, first down. End of the third quarter, Tennessee 27, Kansas 16. Single wing formation. Miller barks out the signals. He's running left. Amarine with the carry, gain of 9, Fox on the tackle. Second and 1 at the 14. Single wing formation. Current drive, 10 plays, 70 yards. 4:36 off the clock. Repigal with the give to Amarine. Amarine with a 3-yard run, Woodruff on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Miller barks out the signals. Repigal hands to Repigal. Repigal lost 1 on the play, Wyatt on the tackle. Second and 11 from the 12. Single wing formation. Miller fades back to pass. Short slant to Renko. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Renko. Kansas trailing by 11. 3rd and 11 from the 12. Single wing formation. Repigal split outside. Current drive, 13 plays, 72 yards. 5:35 off the clock. Miller fades back to pass. Miller throws to Brunson, complete. Miller to Brunson, touchdown Kansas. The conversion is successful, Tennessee 27, Kansas 24. The kick from Gibbons. The kick from Gibbons is returned 15 yards by Cafago, Gibbons with the tackle. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 32, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Single wing formation. Cafago in the shotgun. Some movement up front. Possible free play for Cafago. Wood tucks it under. Cafago on the sweep, gain of 3, penalty on the play.
Encroachment, defense. Number 53, 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Kaufman with the handoff. Kaufman on the carry, loss of 2, Shirk on the tackle. Volunteers ahead by 3. Second and 12 from the 25. Single wing formation. Wood on the draw. Wood on the carry, gain of 3, Renko on the tackle. Third and 9. Single wing formation. Cafago fades back to pass. He dumps it to Coleman. Incomplete. Kafego throws incomplete to Coleman, Masoner on the coverage. Fox to punt. A 37-yard punt by Fox, 13-yard return by Masoner. First and 10 at the 48. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Repeatle running. Miller the ball carrier, gain of 2, Wyatt on the tackle. Single wing formation. The give to Miller. He throws to Shirk. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Shirk, Fox on the coverage. Third and 8 from the 50. Single wing formation. Give to Repeagle. He dumps it to Brunson, he dropped it. Repeagle to Brunson, incomplete, Reich on the coverage. Repeagle back in punt formation. Kafego waiting inside his own 10. A 33-yard punt by Repeagle, return of 7 by Kafego. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 31, 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Running right. As daylight. Wallen on the pitch, gain of 14, Warren on the tackle. Single wing formation. Wood hands to Wallen. Wallen on the carry, gain of 1, Shirk on the stop, first down. First and 10 at the 34. Single wing formation. Wood running. Kafego the ball carrier, gain of 13, Repeagle on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Wallen takes the handoff. Wallen with the carry, gain of 1, Massair on the tackle. Single wing formation. Wood hands to Wood. Wood with the carry, gain of 2, Massair on the tackle. Third and 7 at the 50. Single wing formation. Kaufman on the draw. Kaufman gains 2 on the draw, Shirk on the tackle. Fox will punt it away. Repeagle waiting inside his own 10. A 19-yard punt by Fox, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Miller at the line. Fumbled snap. Fumble. Miller lost 5 on the play, touchdown Tennessee, fumble recovered by Woodruff, returned for a Tennessee touchdown. Wyatt will try the point after. The kick by Wyatt is no good, Tennessee 33, Kansas 24. Barnes with the kick. The kick from Barnes is returned 27 yards by Masoner, Duncan with the tackle. First and 10 from the 43. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Repeagle takes the handoff. Repeagle on the carry, gain of 4, Wyatt with the tackle. Single wing formation. Kansas in a hurry up. Miller fades back to pass. Miller will run. Miller with a gain of 8 on the play, Coleman on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Kansas hustling to the line. Repigal pitches left to Amarine. Amarine on the pitch, loss of 4, Wyatt on the tackle. Kansas trailing by 9. 2nd and 14. Single wing formation. Give to Repigal. He throws to Shirk, incomplete. Repigal throws incomplete to Shirk, Fox on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense. Number 77, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. Hand off to Repigal. 8-yard run by Repigal, Malinsky on the tackle. Single wing formation. Hurry up offense. The hand off to Repigal. Repigal with a gain of 4 on the play, Wyatt on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Hurry up. Miller calls out the signals. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Repigal. Picked off by Malinsky at the 10. Miller is intercepted by Malinsky, return of 0. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Wood hands to Wallen. Wallen on the carry, loss of 1, Selanik on the tackle. Second and 11 from the 9. Single wing formation. Cafago working very slowly. Cafago at the line. Running right. Wood on the carry, no gain, Renko on the stop. Third and 11 from the 9. Single wing formation. They're in a slow down. Hand off to Cafago. He throws to Kaufman, tipped by Divins at the 15. Cafago is intercepted by Divins, return of 7. Kansas trailing by 9. Single wing formation. Miller in the shotgun. Repigal gives to Amarine. Amarine on the carry, touchdown Kansas. Gibbons will try the point after. Gibbons converts the extra point, Tennessee 33, Kansas 31. Here's the kick from Gibbons. The kick from Gibbons is returned 25 yards by Cafago, Gibbons on the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Wood with the hand off. Wood on the carry, gain of 2, Repigal with the tackle. Tennessee by 2. Single wing formation. Tennessee taking their time. Wood hands to Wood. Wood the ball carrier, no gain, Masser with the tackle. Third and 8 from the 46. Single wing formation. Cafago working very slowly. Give to Cafago. He throws to Duncan. Cafago is intercepted by Warren, return of 6. Single wing formation. Miller from the shotgun. Brunson with the hand off. Brunson with the carry, loss of 1, Malinsky on the tackle. 2nd and 11. Single wing formation. Hurry up. Hand off to Miller. He throws to Shirk. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Shirk, Fox with the coverage. Kansas needs a big play here. 3rd and 11 from the 46. 2:18 left in the game. Single wing formation. Miller drops back to pass. Medium slant to Renko. Incomplete. Miller throws incomplete to Renko, Kafego with the coverage.
Pass interference, defense. Number 72, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. Give to Miller. He throws to Repigal. He makes the catch. Miller completes the pass to Repigal, 13-yard gain, Malinsky on the tackle, first down. 1st and 10. Single wing formation. Hand off to Miller. Miller throws to Renko, complete. Miller completes the pass to Renko, gain of 13, Reich with the tackle, first down. 1st and goal. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Miller on the carry, touchdown Kansas. Gibbons will try the point after. The kick by Gibbons is good, Kansas 38, Tennessee 33. Here's the kick from Gibbons. Squib kick. The kick from Gibbons is returned 8 yards by Steiner, Hall on the tackle. Single wing formation. Kafego in the shotgun. Give to Kafego. He throws to Wallen. Complete. Kafego completes the pass to Wallen, gain of 12, Warren on the stop, first down. Volunteers down by 5. Single wing formation. Wood hands to Kaufman. 2-yard run by Kaufman, Masser on the tackle. Tennessee down by 5. Single wing formation. Kafego sets up in the pocket. Slant to Wyatt. Incomplete. Kafego throws incomplete to Wyatt. Tennessee needs a big play here. 3rd and 8 at the 47. Single wing formation. Kafego fades back to pass. He dumps it to Wallen. Incomplete. Kafego throws incomplete to Wallen, Anderson on the coverage. Tennessee trailing by 5. 4th and 8 from the 47. 1:04 in the 4th. Single wing formation. Give to Wood. He throws to Wallen. Incomplete. Wood passes to Wallen. Incomplete. Anderson with the coverage. Kansas ahead by 5. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Miller yelling out the signals. Movement up front. Possible free play for Miller. The hand off to Brunson. Brunson with daylight. 16-yard gain by Brunson. Penalty flag.
Encroachment, defense. Number 37, 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Repeal gives to Brunson. Brunson on the carry, gain of 5, Wyatt on the tackle. Repeal will go to a knee. Kansas 38, Tennessee 33. Welcome to Superdome. St. Mary's against Carnegie Tech. For a first-round playoff game. Carnegie to kick off. The kick from Carnegie is returned 22 yards by Claude Habiche, House on the tackle. Single wing formation. Claude Habiche behind center. Shotgun. Claude Habiche calling signals. Claude Habiche running. Claude Habiche on the sweep, no gain, Fisher on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Claude Habiche drops back to pass. Claude Habiche will run. Has room to run. Claude Habiche with a 11-yard run, Giordano on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Heffernan drops back to pass. False. Heffernan on the carry, gain of 4, Betts on the tackle. St. Mary's breaks the huddle. Second and 6. Single wing formation. Pivarov split out wide. Bootleg. Heffernan on the bootleg, no gain, Betts on the tackle. Third and 6. Single wing formation. Heffernan at the line. Draw to Smith. Smith on the carry, no gain, Forsyth on the stop. Dowd back in punt formation. Condit waiting inside his own 10. "46-yard punt by Dowd, touchback. Single wing formation. Condit behind center. Shotgun. Condit on the run. Condit on the sweep, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Single wing formation. Giordano barks out the signals. Hand off to Condit. 1-yard gain by Condit, Crampton on the tackle. Third and 9 at the 21. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Muha. Incomplete. Giordano throws incomplete to Muha, Jack with the coverage. Carnegie to punt. "39-yard punt by Carnegie, return of 8 by Heffernan. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Claude Habiche pitches left to Smith. Smith with the carry, loss of 4, Betts on the tackle. Single wing formation. Betancourt with the handoff. Betancourt with a gain of 3 on the play, Friedlander on the tackle. Third and 11 at the 47. Single wing formation. Heffernan drops back to pass. Medium hitch to Crampton, complete. Heffernan completes the pass to Crampton, gain of 17, Condit on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 36. Single wing formation. Ramesa takes the handoff. Ramesa with a gain of 14 on the play, Muha on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Smith with the handoff. Smith the ball carrier, no gain, Giordano with the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. The give to Ramesa. Ramesa the ball carrier, no gain, Fisher on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Pivarov out wide. Heffernan barks out the signals. And off to Klodhavish. He throws to Smith, incomplete. Klodhavish to Smith, incomplete, Schmidt on the coverage. Fourth and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Heffernan back to pass. He dumps it to Ramesa. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Ramesa, Reith on the coverage. Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Condit hands to Moros. Moros with the carry, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. And off to Condit. Condit on the sweep, gain of 7, Dowd with the tackle. Third and 3 from the 29. Single wing formation. Giordano at the line. Giordano back to pass. Giordano will run. Giordano on the carry, gain of 9, Jack on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. With daylight. Giordano on the bootleg, gain of 19, Smith with the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 43. Single wing formation. Condit tucks it under. 6-yard gain by Giordano, Betancourt on the tackle. Single wing formation. Condit on the run. Blocking in front. Giordano on the sweep, gain of 20, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Giordano calls out the signals. Condit pitches right to Muha. Muha with daylight. Muha on the pitch, 16-yard gain, Dowd on the tackle, first down. First and goal at the 1. Single wing formation. St. Mary's stack the line. Giordano at the line. Condit hands to Muha. Muha on the carry, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Second and goal at the 1. Single wing formation. Stacked line. Giordano calls the signals. Bootleg. Giordano on the bootleg, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnelly will try the point after. The kick by Carnelly is no good, Carnegie Tech 6, St. Mary's 0. Carnelly to kick off. The kick from Carnelly is returned 12 yards by Mozaika, House on the tackle. Single wing formation. Heffernan in the shotgun. Hand off to Heffernan. He throws to Betancourt. Heffernan is intercepted by Reed, return of 6. First and 10. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Giordano calls the signals. Hand off to Muha. Muha with a gain of 6 on the play, Pivarov on the tackle. Carnegie Tech ahead by 6. Second and 4 at the 33. 4:57 left in the first. Single wing formation. Running right. Morrows on the carry, no gain, Jones with the tackle. Third and 4 from the 33. Single wing formation. Condit on the draw. Condit with the carry, no gain, Crampton on the stop. Fourth and 4 from the 33. Single wing formation. Condit pitches right to Condit. Condit has room to run. Condit on the pitch, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnally will try the point after. Carnally missed the extra point, Carnegie Tech 12, St. Mary's 0. The kick from Carnally. The kick from Carnally is returned 12 yards by Mozaika, Braun on the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Claude Habish gives to Ramesa. Ramesa on the carry, no gain, Campbell on the tackle. Second and 10 at the 26. Single wing formation. Pitch right to Claude Habish. Claude Habish on the pitch, penalty on the play.
Holding, offense. Number 76, 10-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Pivarov split outside. Heffernan fades back to pass. Medium slant. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Crampton, Giordano on the coverage. Third and 20 at the 16. Single wing formation. Heffernan calls out the signals. Hand off to Heffernan. He throws to Ramesa. Incomplete. Heffernan to Ramesa, incomplete, Reith with the coverage. Dowd deep in punt formation. "44-yard punt by Dowd, return of 15 by Condit. Single wing formation. Giordano from the shotgun. Condit hands to Condit. 7-yard run by Condit, Smith on the tackle. Single wing formation. Condit with the give to Muha. Muha gets to the second level. Muha with the carry, gain of 16, Claude Habish on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Hand off to Morrows. Morrows on the carry, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Give to Condit. Condit on the sweep, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Giordano sets up in the pocket. Giordano passes to Friedlander. Giordano is intercepted by Nichols, return of 0. First and 10 from the 20. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Heffernan at the line. Claude Habish on the run. Heffernan on the carry, flag on the field.
Holding, offense. Number 74, 10-yard penalty.
First and 20 from the 10. Single wing formation. Heffernan in the shotgun. Hand off to Heffernan. Heffernan passes to Pivarov. incomplete. Heffernan to Pivarov, incomplete. Second and 20 from the 10. Single wing formation. Heffernan calls out the signals. Heffernan fades back to pass. Heffernan will run. Heffernan on the carry, gain of 2, Friedlander on the stop. Third and 18 from the 12. Single wing formation. Pivarov lines up outside. Heffernan at the line. Back to pass. Long slant to Crampton. He dropped it. Heffernan with the pass to Crampton, incomplete, Giordano on the coverage. Dowd deep in punt formation. In his own end zone. "49-yard punt by Dowd, return of 6 by Condit. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Condit pitches right to Moros. Room to run. Moros gains 13 on the pitch, Dowd on the stop, first down. Single wing formation. Condit behind center. Condit on the draw. Condit lost 2 on the play, Pivarov on the tackle. Single wing formation. Condit pitches right to Muha. Muha the ball carrier, loss of 6, Dowd on the tackle. Third and 18. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. Giordano is running with it. Giordano the ball carrier, 2-yard gain, Betancourt on the tackle. Carnally from punt formation. Claude Havish standing inside his own 10. "27-yard punt by Carnally, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Bootleg. Heffernan on the carry, 5-yard gain, Reith on the stop. Single wing formation. Pivarov lines up outside. The hand off to Smith. Smith gains 2 on the sweep, Fisher with the tackle. Third and 3 from the 28. Single wing formation. Give to Claude Havish. He throws to Crampton, incomplete. Claude Havish throws incomplete to Crampton. Dowd from punt formation. "42-yard punt by Dowd, return of 19 by Muha. Single wing formation. Giordano in the shotgun. Pitch right to Moros. Has room to run. Moros on the pitch, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnally will try the point after. Carnally makes the extra point, Carnegie Tech 19, St. Mary's 0. Carnally with the kick. The kick from Carnally is returned 20 yards by Claude Havish, House on the tackle. Single wing formation. Heffernan from the shotgun. Heffernan at the line. Claude Havish gives to Ramesa. Ramesa with a lane. Ramesa with the carry, gain of 21, Giordano on the tackle, first down. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 68, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. False. With daylight. 15-yard run by Heffernan, Giordano on the tackle. Timeout, Carnegie Tech. Single wing formation. Claude Habish on the sneak. Heffernan with a gain of 1 on the play, Campbell on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Pivarov split outside. Heffernan at the line. Claude Habish pitches left to Smith. Smith with the carry, no gain, Fisher on the tackle. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Medium crossing pattern. Incomplete. Heffernan to Betancourt, incomplete, Giordano on the coverage. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Heffernan drops back to pass. Medium crossing pattern to Crampton, he's got it. Heffernan with the pass to Crampton, touchdown St. Mary's. Perry will try the point after. Perry missed the extra point, Carnegie Tech 19, St. Mary's 6. The kick from Perry. The kick from Perry is returned 22 yards by Muha, Aronson on the tackle. Single wing formation. Giordano from the shotgun. He's running right. Morrow's the ball carrier, no gain, Crampton with the tackle. Second and 10 from the 34. Single wing formation. Condit pitches right to Morrow's. Morrow's gains 3 on the pitch, Crampton on the tackle. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Third and 12 from the 32. Single wing formation. Giordano at the line. Hand off to Giordano. He throws to Muha. Complete. Giordano completes the pass to Muha, gain of 26, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Condit hands to Muha. Muha lost 4 on the play, Cantwell on the tackle. Second and 14 from the 46. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. Short hitch to Muha, complete. Giordano to Muha, gain of 26, Jack on the tackle, first down. Tartans up 13. Single wing formation. Muha with the hand off. Muha the ball carrier, 11-yard gain, Jack on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Morrow's takes the handoff. Morrow's the ball carrier, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnelly will try the point after. Carnelly makes the extra point, Carnegie Tech 26, St. Mary's 6. Here's the kick from Carnelly. The kick from Carnally is returned 12 yards by Mozaika, Thaus with the tackle. Single wing formation. Heffernan in the shotgun. Claude Habish on the run. Heffernan lost one on the play, Fisher on the tackle. Second and 11 from the 28. Single wing formation. Bootleg. With daylight. Heffernan on the bootleg, gain of 18, Giordano on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Heberov split out wide. Claude Habish with the handoff. Claude Habish on the carry, gain of 2, Fisher on the tackle. Second and 8 from the 48. Single wing formation. Hand off to Heffernan. He throws to Ramesa. Complete. Heffernan completes the pass to Ramesa, gain of 13, Reith with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Claude Habish pitches right to Smith. Smith on the pitch, no gain, Friedlander on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 39. Single wing formation. Hand off to Claude Habish. He throws underneath to Ramesa, incomplete. Claude Habish passes to Ramesa, incomplete, Reith on the coverage. Third and 10 at the 39. Single wing formation. Hand off to Claude Habish. He throws to Ramesa. Incomplete. Claude Habish throws incomplete to Ramesa. Dowd deep in punt formation. "39-yard punt by Dowd, touchback. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Single wing formation. Giordano from the shotgun. Give to Giordano. He dumps it to Striegel, complete. Giordano completes the pass to Striegel, gain of 8, Smith on the tackle. Single wing formation. Condit with the handoff to Muha. Muha on the carry, no gain, Crampton on the tackle. Carnegie Tech breaks the huddle. 3rd and 7 at the 23. Single wing formation. Condit tucks it under. Giordano gains 3 on the sweep, Betancourt on the tackle. Carnally from punt formation. "37-yard punt by Carnally, return of 13 by Claude Habish. First and 10 at the 50. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Ramesa with the handoff. Lots of daylight. Ramesa on the carry, gain of 13, Schmidt on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Claude Habish gives to Smith. Smith gains 11 on the sweep, Muha on the stop, first down. First and 10 from the 26. Single wing formation. Heffernan at the line. Running left. Ramesa on the pitch, no gain, Fisher on the tackle. Single wing formation. They're in a hurry up. Bootleg. Heffernan on the bootleg, no gain, Dobers with the tackle. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Hurry up offense. Heffernan fades back to pass. Heffernan throws to Crampton. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Crampton.
Pass interference, defense. Automatic, first down.
First and 10. 2:13 in the second. Single wing formation. Smith with the handoff. 6-yard run by Smith. Betts on the tackle. Single wing formation. Klotabish behind center. Hurry up. Klotabish calls the signals. Klotabish on the draw. Klotabish on the carry, no gain, Dobers on the stop. Third and 4 from the 11. Single wing formation. Hurry up offense. Give to Heffernan. He throws to Smith. Incomplete. Heffernan passes to Smith. Incomplete. Schmidt on the coverage. Fourth and 4 from the 11. 1:22 left in the second. Single wing formation. Heffernan drops back to pass. Heffernan throws to Betancourt. Complete. Heffernan passes to Betancourt. 5-yard gain. Giordano on the tackle. First down. First and goal from the 6. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Heffernan will run. Heffernan on the carry, touchdown St. Mary's. Perry will try the point after. Perry missed the extra point, Carnegie Tech 26, St. Mary's 12. Here's the kick from Perry. The kick from Perry is returned 31 yards by Muha, Aronson with the tackle. First and 10 at the 49. Single wing formation. Giordano from the shotgun. Condit gives to Moros. Moros gains 1 on the sweep, Dowd on the tackle. Tartans leads by 14. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. Long out to Friedlander. He's got it. Fumble. Giordano completes the pass to Friedlander, gain of 32, fumble recovered by Friedlander, Carnegie Tech maintains possession. First and 10. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Giordano the ball carrier, no gain, Jones on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 18. Single wing formation. Giordano glides back to pass. Giordano dumps it to Muha, complete. Giordano completes the pass to Muha, gain of 7, Jack with the tackle. 28-yard try for Carnelli. Carnelli to hold. The snap from Schmidt. Carnelli is good from 28, Carnegie Tech 29, St. Mary's 12. Here's the kick from Perry. The kick from Perry is returned 23 yards by Muha, Aronson on the stop. Single wing formation. Shotgun. The hand off to Moros. Moros with daylight. 14-yard run by Moros, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Running right. 7-yard run by Condit, Crampton on the tackle. Single wing formation. He's running right. Condit the ball carrier, gain of 5, Jack on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Giordano lost 2 on the play, Crampton with the tackle. Second and 12. Single wing formation. Bootleg. 4-yard gain by Giordano, Cantwell on the tackle. Third and 8 from the 34. Single wing formation. Giordano at the line. Muha on the draw. 5-yard run by Muha, Smith with the tackle. Fourth and 3 at the 29. Single wing formation. Giordano sets up in the pocket. False. Giordano the ball carrier, gain of 1, penalty flag.
Holding, offense. 10-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Hand off to Heffernan. He dumps it to Betancourt. Incomplete. Heffernan passes to Betancourt. Incomplete. Giordano with the coverage. Second and 10 from the 28. Single wing formation. Slips it to Heffernan. He throws to Klotavish. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Klotavish, Muha on the coverage. Third and 10 at the 28. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Long slant to Crampton. Incomplete. Heffernan passes to Crampton, incomplete, Condit on the coverage. Down from punt formation. "46-yard punt by Dowd, return of 17 by Condit."
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Giordano barks out the signals. Condit hands to Muha. Muha on the carry, gain of 1, Cantwell on the stop. Single wing formation. Giordano barks out the signals. Condit hands to Lee. Lee with the carry, no gain, Betancourt with the tackle. Carnegie Tech by 17. Third and 9. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. He checks down to Moros, complete. Giordano to Moros, gain of 4, Nichols on the tackle. Carnelli to punt. "34-yard punt by Carnelli, 7-yard return by Heffernan."
Offsides. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Heffernan in the shotgun. Klotavish gives to Smith. 3-yard gain by Smith, Betts on the stop. Single wing formation. Klotavish running. Heffernan lost 2 on the play, Reith with the tackle. Third and 9 from the 47. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. False. Heffernan on the carry, gain of 10, Reith with the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 37. Single wing formation. Ramesa takes the handoff. Ramesa on the carry, no gain, Betts on the tackle. Single wing formation. Heffernan calls out the signals. Klodavish on the run. Heffernan the ball carrier, no gain, Friedlander on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 37. Single wing formation. Heffernan at the line. Drops back to pass. He passes to Ramesa. Incomplete. Heffernan to Ramesa, incomplete, Reith on the coverage. Dowd deep in punt formation. "36-yard punt by Dowd, no return. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Giordano calling signals. Muha with the handoff. Muha on the carry, 3-yard gain, Pivarov on the tackle. Tartans ahead by 17. Second and 7 from the 4. 7:38 in the third. Single wing formation. Condit pitches right to Moros. Moros gains 8 on the pitch, Dowd with the tackle, first down. Carnegie Tech by 17. First and 10 from the 12. 7:14 to go in the third. Single wing formation. Condit gives to Muha. Muha on the carry, no gain, Jones on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Hand off to Moros. 2-yard run by Moros, Betancourt on the tackle. Third and 8 at the 14. Single wing formation. Giordano barks out the signals. Sets to throw. Giordano passes to Moros, he's got it. Giordano to Moros, gain of 3, Nichols on the tackle. Carnelli back to punt. "33-yard punt by Carnelli, return of 7 by Klodavish. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Smith with the handoff. Smith with a gain of 1 on the play, Fisher on the tackle. Second and 9 from the 42. Single wing formation. Klodavish running. Room to run. Heffernan on the sweep, gain of 14, Muha on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Give to Heffernan. He throws to Betancourt. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Betancourt, Giordano with the coverage. Single wing formation. Klodavish gives to Smith. Smith with a gain of 3 on the play, Fisher with the tackle. Third and 7 from the 25. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Short hitch to Crampton. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Crampton, Condit on the coverage. 4th and 7 from the 25. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Short cross. Incomplete. Heffernan passes to Betancourt. Incomplete. Giordano on the coverage.
Pass interference. Defense. Automatic. First down.
Single wing formation. Hand off to Heffernan. He passes to Smith. Complete. Heffernan completes the pass to Smith. Gain of 11. Schmidt on the tackle. First down. First and goal. 3:16 left in the third. Single wing formation. Pitch right to Claude Havish. Claude Havish with the carry. No gain. Friedlander on the tackle. St. Mary's trailing by 17. Single wing formation. Heffernan sets up in the pocket. Heffernan is running. Heffernan on the carry. Touchdown St. Mary's. Perry will try the point after. The kick by Perry is good. Carnegie Tech 29, St. Mary's 19. Here's the kick from Perry. The kick from Perry is returned 21 yards by Muha. Mozaika with the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Condit with the transfer. Condit the ball carrier. Gain of 1. Katzmeyer with the tackle. Second and 9 from the 37. Single wing formation. Condit pitches right to Moros. Moros on the pitch. Loss of 2. Katzmeyer on the tackle. Tartans up 10. 3rd and 11 at the 35. Single wing formation. Giordano drops back to pass. Medium sideline pass to Betts. Incomplete. Giordano to Betts. Incomplete. Claude Havish with the coverage. Carnally to punt. A 21-yard punt by Carnally, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Bootleg. Heffernan on the bootleg. Gain of 9. Schmidt on the stop. Single wing formation. Heffernan at the line. The give to Heffernan. He throws to Ramesa. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Ramesa. Reith on the coverage. Third and 1. Single wing formation. Pivarov split out wide. Heffernan calls out the signals. The hand off to Smith. 3-yard run by Smith. Dobers with the tackle. First down. End of the third quarter. Carnegie Tech 29, St. Mary's 19. First and 10 from the 44. Single wing formation. Smith takes the handoff. Smith on the carry. Gain of 10. Reith on the tackle. First down. Single wing formation. Ramesa with the handoff. 1-yard gain by Ramesa. Dobers with the tackle. Second and 9. Single wing formation. Claude Havish gives to Ramesa. Ramesa with the carry. No gain. Friedlander on the tackle. Third and 9 from the 33. Single wing formation. Pivarov out wide. Heffernan sets up in the pocket. Heffernan will run. Heffernan the ball carrier. Gain of 3. Forsyth on the tackle. St. Mary's down by 10. 4th and 6 at the 30. Single wing formation. Give to Heffernan. He throws to Ramesa. He dropped it. Heffernan passes to Ramesa, incomplete, Reith with the coverage. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Giordano calls the signals. Condit gives to Condit. There he goes. Condit on the sweep, gain of 68, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Condit running. Giordano with the carry, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnolly will try the point after. Carnolly missed the extra point, Carnegie Tech 35, St. Mary's 19. Here's the kick from Carnolly. The kick from Carnolly is returned 23 yards by Klotavish, Braun on the stop.
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
St. Mary's down 16. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Hand off to Smith. Smith on the carry, gain of 3, Dobris on the tackle. Second and 7 from the 21. Single wing formation. Klotavish shovels it to Klotavish. 9-yard gain by Klotavish, Schmidt on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Hand off to Klotavish. Klotavish on the sweep, no gain, Dobris with the tackle. Second and 10 from the 30. Single wing formation. Give to Heffernan. He throws to Smith. Incomplete. Heffernan to Smith, incomplete, Schmidt on the coverage. Third and 10 at the 30. Single wing formation. Heffernan drops back to pass. Short out. He dropped it. Heffernan throws incomplete to Crampton, Condit on the coverage. Dowd deep in punt formation. "50-yard punt by Dowd, return of 14 by Condit.
Illegal block. Receiving team.
First and 10 from the 12. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Giordano calls out the signals. The give to Giordano. He throws to Striegel. Complete. Giordano to Striegel, gain of 13, flag on the field.
Roughing the passer. Defense. Number 54, 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
First and 10 from the 40. Single wing formation. Condit hands to Lee. Lee lost one on the play, Jones on the tackle. Single wing formation. Giordano slow to the line. Running left. Moros lost 3 on the play, Pivarov with the tackle. Third and 14. Single wing formation. Slow down. Giordano sets up in the pocket. Giordano will run. Giordano with the carry, gain of 7, Cantwell on the tackle. Carnolly to punt. 34-yard punt by Carnally, return of 9 by Klotavish. St. Mary's trailing by 16. Single wing formation. Heffernan from the shotgun. The give to Ramesa. Ramesa with the carry, gain of 1, Campbell on the tackle. Second and 9. Single wing formation. They're in a hurry up. Heffernan at the line. Ramesa with the handoff. Ramesa with a 2-yard run, Fisher on the stop. Third and 7 from the 35. Single wing formation. St. Mary's in a hurry up. Hand off to Heffernan. He throws to Klotavish. Heffernan is intercepted by Schmidt. Penalty on the play.
Illegal motion. Offense. Number 78, 5-yard penalty.
Carnegie Tech ahead by 16. Single wing formation. Giordano in the shotgun. Bootleg. 7-yard run by Giordano, Katzmeyer on the tackle. Single wing formation. Carnegie Tech taking their time. Condit hands to Moros. 1-yard run by Moros, Katzmeyer on the tackle. Third and 2 from the 29. Single wing formation. Carnegie Tech taking their time. Giordano calls out the signals. Give to Condit. Condit on the carry, no gain, Jack on the tackle. Fourth and 2. Single wing formation. Slow down offense. Giordano barks out the signals. Giordano drops back to pass. He dumps it to Moros, complete. Giordano to Moros, gain of 10, Nichols on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Carnegie Tech in no hurry. Condit on the run. Giordano lost 1 on the play, Jack on the tackle. Carnegie Tech up 16. Second and 11 from the 20. 4:50 in the fourth. Single wing formation. Slow down offense. Giordano barks out the signals. Condit hands to Condit. Condit lost 3 on the play, Jack on the tackle. Third and 14. Single wing formation. They're in a slow down. Giordano sets up in the pocket. Short hitch to Friedlander. Incomplete. Giordano to Friedlander, incomplete. Flag on the field.
Offsides, defense. Number 73, 5-yard penalty.
Carnegie Tech leads by 16. Third and 9 at the 18. 4:02 in the fourth. Single wing formation. Giordano fades back to pass. Giordano throws underneath to Muha. He dropped it. Giordano throws incomplete to Muha. Fourth and 9 from the 18. Single wing formation. Giordano drops back to pass. Giordano throws to Lee. Complete. Giordano completes the pass to Lee, 12-yard gain, Nichols with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Slow down offense. Giordano at the line. Condit hands to Moros. Moros with the carry, gain of 4, Crampton on the tackle. Flag on the play.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Carnegie Tech breaks the huddle. Carnegie Tech by 16. Single wing formation. Running right. Condit lost 3 on the play, Crampton on the stop. Third and goal. Single wing formation. Giordano sets to throw. Medium in. Giordano is intercepted by Claude Havish, return of 0. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Medium hitch. Incomplete. Heffernan to Betancourt, incomplete, Condit on the coverage. Single wing formation. Pivarov out wide. Hand off to Claude Havish. Sacked by Fisher. Claude Havish is sacked by Fisher, loss of 10. Third and 20 from the 10. Single wing formation. Heffernan fades back to pass. Heffernan is off and running. Heffernan on the carry, gain of 7, Giordano on the tackle. Fourth and 13 from the 17. Single wing formation. Heffernan sets to throw. Long sideline pass. Incomplete. Heffernan throws incomplete to Betancourt, Giordano on the coverage. Single wing formation. Giordano from the shotgun. Moros takes the handoff. Lots of daylight, Moros on the sweep, touchdown Carnegie Tech. Carnelli will try the point after. Carnelli makes the extra point, Carnegie Tech 42, St. Mary's 19. Here's the kick from Carnelli. Fumble. The kick from Carnelli is returned 18 yards by Mazaka, fumble recovered by Reed, Carnegie Tech ball. Single wing formation. Shotgun. The hand off to Condit. Condit on the sweep, no gain, Magnani on the stop. Condit will take a knee. Condit will take a knee. Condit will take a knee. Carnegie Tech 42, St. Mary's 19.